I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the March 9th meeting of the Nottingham Planning Board, and I'd like to just go around the room and have people introduce themselves.
Robert Davies, alternate.
Charlene Anderson.
Donna Davis, Board of Selectmen rep.
Edward Veal.
Dirk Grotenhuis.
John Moran.
Gary Anderson.
Paul Colby, Code Administrator.
Tonight is, we've got two things on a public hearing, and then we've got some other
Yeah.
things to describe.
Do you want to sit, Buzz?
Oh, yes, I do, because we are down a member. I would like to seat Buzz to Sue Mooney's position, and so you're a full voting member of the board today.
Thank you.
Okay?
The audience will show no emotion.
Gee, where else did I see that?
I saw it on there.
On Channel 9 today?
Yes, exactly. Sorry.
I don't have a gavel, so. The first case is case P16002 LLA. It's an application from LF White Revocable Trust. It's to adjust a lot line between tax map 66 lot 2, tax map 66 lot 2-4. No new lots are being created. The property is located at 138 Raymond Road in Nottingham. Paul, do you have anything to add?
Yep, we reviewed the application. We find it complete. So our recommendation is to accept the application.
Okay. Recommendation is to accept the application. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the application as complete.
There's a
I'll second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none. It's unanimous. So the application has been accepted. We would now move into an approval process, but during that approval process, we'd like to hear from the applicant. And
Okay, I'm Roscoe Blaisdell, I'm the land surveyor for the project. Back in 2014, we did a subdivision and created some road frontage lots, and the Whites have been selling the lots to Jeff Cole Builders, and Jeff wants to build on one of them, but he wants it to be bigger. So lot 2-4, which is about 2.4 acres, he wants to add 2 acres to it from the larger parcel out back. And pretty simple. And he'll be putting his house on the part that's being added to it. And corners are all been set. And about all there is to it, I guess.
so this is taking an existing lot, making it a little bit bigger, but no new lots are created by that.
Correct, yeah.
So there'll be a 4-acre lot, approximately 4-acre lot, and an approximately 21-acre lot, or
Yep.
22.
Yes.
Those will be the changes. One's just offsetting the other. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just one question. The narrowest point on the larger existing lot?
Yes.
Lot 2?
Yep.
I believe that looks like it's well over 100 feet even between the setback.
Yeah,
lines,
I'd
correct?
say it's probably 200.
Okay. That pitching there. And then, Paul, I noticed on our prior approval, we probably erred in not requiring a building envelope be shown on that lot to show that they're on the parent parcel. Is that something we could remedy now? Because this is considered I mean, it's a lot line adjustment, but it's considered as,
Right, I mean,
falls under subdivision.
you can, I mean, we, I think back then we assumed when it was 23 acres originally that there was plenty of room, which, when we did test pits
Yeah.
2 years ago now, yeah.
I did test pits on the big lot too, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So, I mean,
good
it's up
land.
to you.
Yeah, it
guys.
looked like it. Looking at the soils map, I know there's probably some wetlands over on the northern
The
edge
back of it.
but for the rest of it, looked like it was all well-drained soils and nothing with great slope or anything. I just didn't know if this would be a good moment to try to clean that up and add that, or if the board doesn't feel it's necessary, then we move on.
Is there an existing house on that lot
The big lot?
now?
No, no. The Whites are retaining that lot, and from what I heard, they're gonna retain it for a long time. They've owned it for a long time.
The original subdivision, just the lots that, the smaller, the 2-acre lots were to be sold off, and the 21 or 23-acre piece was to remain in the White family for future generations. At this point, as he said, the lots are being sold to Jeff Cole Builders. The lot that they're asking to increase the size of, he's actually building the house for himself. And they wanted to be back off the road more. So,
What is the frontage on Lot 2?
It's 148.1 plus 91.86. It's
you.
over 200 feet.
I see it now.
Did we open the public hearing? I know it's over here, but.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing, and that allows any public to come and speak for, against, or any other position they have for this application. So at this point, I'd open the public hearing. Anyone can come forward and... Seeing none,
Anyone?
I will
you wanna speak, Peter?
We locked the door so they couldn't come in.
confirm that, giving ample time. I'll close the public hearing, and then it comes back to the board for any motions or any further questions.
As Roscoe said, the pins have been set. I was out at Lot 2 dash, which one the other day? One of the lots yesterday, and I checked the pins, so they're all there, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the application for case P16-002-LLA.
Gary, this would be an approval.
Approve.
You had
still
said
not
acceptance.
there. Okay.
So if you,
Approval for the application.
okay, great. You're still okay with that? It's an approval? All right. Thank you. So there's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you for coming in.
I did bring a Mylar,
Just, yeah, leave it right there.
leave it right here, and I brought a monumentation certification.
Okay, yeah,
So,
just leave it there, I'll pick that.
Are we all set? Do we need L-chip and recording fees?
Yeah, I'll have Joanna get a hold of you, Peter. I'll have Joanna get a hold of you with the L-chip fee and the recording fee.
They can't record it. Thank you.
The second public hearing notice or item we have is the scenic road clearing. And that has been noticed to the public, but at this point, we do not have a member from the power company here. Eversource was requested at the last meeting to have a representative to explain their spreadsheet. It did not have titles on the columns, so we really weren't 100% sure what they meant by their spreadsheet. So we had requested them to be in front of us. They're not here tonight, so we can continue that.
Yep.
I would,
We had no contact by any means from them of attendance or the requested information, so.
so at this point, we would continue this until April, when's the meeting then? 10th?
That sounds right. You got the calendar book?
And the next meeting date is April 13th, according to
Yes, the 13th.
April 13th at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Can I get a motion for that?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue this scenic road tree clearing public hearing to Wednesday, April 13th at 7 PM.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? say aye.
Wait, I got
Sorry.
a question first.
Yes.
Maybe I missed part of this when you were explaining it. What is this in reference to? What are they,
Okay, so, in order to clear trees, the Eversource has requested that they, clear trees on scenic roads in Nottingham.
Correct.
There's some specific roads, that they have planned to cut trees on, which is Case Road, Gow Road, Ledge Farm Road, Mitchell Road, Poor Farm Road, and Stevens Hill Road, and those are all designated as scenic roads.
right?
And they need to notify us, the board, and have a public hearing, and, which we did we opened the public hearing at the previous meeting, which there were concerns from, citizens that it was unclear of which trees they were going to limb and which trees that they were actually clearing or removing.
Now I understand why I wasn't at that meeting. That's
Okay.
why
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good that I can re-explain it for the public that's watching. So, there was no Eversource representative at that meeting to clarify, because they provided a spreadsheet or a table of, trees that they had intended on removing or limbing. They ribboned them outside, flagged them out in the roadways with white flagging. And some of the citizens were concerned that, didn't know whether that white flagging meant that it was being removed or they were just taking some limbs off. So we had requested that Eversource be present here, which normally they are, at least in the past they have been, to answer those questions, and they weren't. So we've continued the meeting till today to try and see if they would come and do that. And we would now be continuing it until April.
How do we know they're gonna show up in April?
We don't.
So why don't we just make them start over?
Yeah,
Well, why would we? I mean, there isn't a reason not to.
They
We
didn't
can-
respond to your request for them to show up here.
well, that's a good point, and I agree with that point, but I think, 3 times you're out, kind of thing, that's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm giving them another shot, and I think next time,
Did,
they don't-
well, let me just make sure, Paul, did we get in touch with them, or how? So we
The
called them?
for the original hearing, we emailed them, with the date and time, and be prepared to explain your data that was sent. Never heard a thing. So, and both Joanne and I emailed them because we didn't realize the other one, and that's fine, at least they got 2. This time, we both emailed them again, and she did it the next morning after our last meeting, and I waited till the next week.
Okay, with no
With
responses?
no response of any type. Yep, as of 6:30 tonight.
So a public hearing is required, and then they need the approval of this board to actually go forward and do it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So-
So they can't cut the trees or limit the trees without this
They
approval.
didn't send a representative to the first meeting.
Right.
They sent unclear paperwork, and they haven't responded to our request to clarify their paperwork and respond here to this meeting.
Correct.
So I
That's what
still
I
think
see.
they ought to start over, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, and the benefit, if we had them start the process over, that would require them to renotice abutters, correct?
They
This
do all that
doesn't.
themselves, yeah.
This doesn't though, because of the, because we're continuing it, but if we were
Right.
to deny it, they would have to renotice and then, we'd, hold the public
I would
hearing.
like to give them one more shot to come in April, and I would take your advice after that, that we would not give them a chance. We would, just close the public hearing and deny the deny the request.
Should we follow it up with like an actual letter from?
I've got the, yeah.
Yeah. You know, the thing could be that this fellow doesn't work there anymore and his email got shut off. We don't know that for
So
sure.
we're gonna send a certified letter this time?
So we should send something that's certified, make sure that,
Goes to the Hooksett office, that's the office that takes care of this stuff. Yep.
I'll go along with that.
so we have a motion and a second to continue the continue this public hearing, until April 13th at 7 o'clock. All those in favor, aye. Those opposed?
Who moved and seconded?
I moved, Charlene seconded.
Okay, thanks.
And we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is master plan recommendation discussion. And I think what this is for is to discuss taking on whatever next thing in the master plan we want to work on as far as getting something implemented. So this would be taking action from the master plan and doing some action.
Well, I thought that Paul and you and Ed were gonna go through, or that was somebody was gonna go through and kind of check off what we have done, and so we were only gonna, just to kind of,
Get an update?
Yeah.
get an update of what we
Okay.
had,
Is that
what
what's
we've
in front of
done,
me
and
here?
then what's
That's a
left.
little bit, that's the initial survey we did a few years ago,
Okay, but
2 or 3 years ago now. So what we can do is, yeah, I'll go through with Joanna, and then I'll send it to you two to look.
Okay.
And then we'll present it to the full board in April.
Yeah, because I thought that the discussion was we'd wait till there was
Right.
the
The
new
new board,
board.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go through and check off which ones we've got
Yeah, what we've
accomplished that
done, where
were.
we need to, based on the priority list we set before, and then the full needs sheet, I call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this packet, was what Lisa, I think, had put together for, maybe it was Joanne.
That's-
I think it was Joanne, actually.
Joanne put it together, and that was the packet that you two have
Yeah.
of, when we set the priorities we were gonna address first a few years ago. So,
So, yeah, so we can,
I meant really for you to look at it.
because I have a copy, that's why I was wondering.
Maybe you're trying to give it to me in this.
so I can go through it.
Sorry.
Too, I don't know.
I didn't know
how
what you were
feasible it would be
doing.
to have it ready to give to members at the next meeting, so
We
that
can, yeah, we can make
first
copies of that to
April
give out to
meeting-
everybody.
So the first April meeting, we can,
Sure.
We can have,
we can actually have discussion on it and select items.
get a plan of action going. Yep. Okay, then the next thing is the school board impact fee.
Everybody should have a copy of the letter, it's not attached to your booklets.
So those that, I don't know if it got emailed out to everybody or not, but there is a letter that the school board's attorney drafted and issued. It's a bit lengthy, but if I maybe summarize it, that, so the impact fees in the original, when they were brought in, they were intended for a school addition that was for a specific purpose. In the town at that time, and I don't remember the date, the year it was, but the town voted against putting funds towards that new addition. The impact fees are still being collected by the town to offset if there is another addition that is passed, or improvements based on the additional students that would be coming into the community because of new housing. And at this point, none of those fees have been allocated by the school. And we have met with the school board now a couple times, and I believe that they are, well, by this letter, are intending on using those funds for some new additions in potentially some portable classrooms or other areas where there is truly an additional need. That's basically what this letter had come to. Now,
Do you want to go?
John,
Yeah, 'cause that's
John
really-
did go and meet with them, so maybe you can add some
So
clarity to this.
the other, one of the parts of this letter there was nothing that the lawyer disagreed about adding it, to using the impact fees to the building of the new classrooms. It was a question on whether, can the school take some of those impact fees and use them towards building a field, or some of that money going towards a field on Marston's property. That's where the lawyer said no. Because he said our writing was too restrictive, and basically saying it had to be for like a building and not there wasn't enough language for him to say that he felt comfortable for them to use the money for field purposes and not for buildings.
Right. My understanding as well was that the lawyer didn't feel comfortable with them using it for anything related to the modular either, because the expressed goal of that was to expand to full-day kindergarten. So it wasn't related to growth, but it was related to expanding the programming for the existing base. So I think he was questioning the use of that as well. So there was discussion about whether or not the language, when these were first developed, was too restrictive, and whether or not, as we're going through this process with Mayberry, whether or not we want to reevaluate the particular language that's being used to provide a little bit more flexibility.
So that's just for clarification for myself. What you're referring to when you say language is the language in the impact fee that was really created by the planning board.
That, yeah.
No, and I'm gonna correct you. He does say in here it can be used for the modulars.
Right, yeah, that was my
That
understanding.
Last
wasn't,
page.
that wasn't the impression I got from what they were saying, but I'll stand
And the
corrected.
thing is, he never said you couldn't use the money for ball fields. He says, it is doubtful you
Right,
can
it
use the
could be,
money.
it could
He's a
be
lawyer.
kinda
Yeah.
contested.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you look at the definition of capital facilities, it includes fields.
So they also suggested that we get an opinion from Mayberry.
Yep.
So I think, this is just more information that we can have to, get Bruce Mayberry, when he is crafting this new update for the master, or for the, impact fees.
Is part of what Bruce Mayberry gonna do, is to give us an opinion as to whether we should go forward with collecting more school impact fees?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's gonna look at the school and he's gonna look at the fire department.
Right,
and the-
yeah, specifically with the school, because at this point, we obviously have a pool of money
Right.
Yeah,
that needs to be spent in a certain amount of time.
right.
Yeah, and he'll be looking at if the amount needs to be adjusted as well.
Right.
So, and the thing that we talked about too is if the language gets changed, that doesn't necessarily mean that we could use the existing funds
Right.
Correct.
for
It
something
would only be
different.
going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think the time frame was really getting past, town meeting.
Yep.
And then we take that up on getting Bruce
Yeah, because
engaged.
if Marcis doesn't get approved at the town meeting for spending the money, then that's gonna be a big damper on it, whether the school, how much they're gonna put towards this, or
Right.
use that money to allocate it to something else.
Yeah, and I mean, that's really why we went to that meeting, was to see if the school board was open at this time, or felt that they could at this time to commit some of those funds towards Marston.
So it depends on what happens on Saturday, whether we bring up the whole idea of adding rec into that. We budgeted the extra money to have Bruce look at adding the third department, if you will, in the town.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I thought we were all in agreement that he was gonna look at rec.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but if that project doesn't go through, what do we have lined up in the CIP?
Well, that's,
Well-
it's not that the project doesn't go through, it's just that at this point in time.
it doesn't get
the money
approved this
won't-
year.
The money wouldn't be allocated for this year.
Right, exactly,
Right.
right.
Yeah, and this study would come up with the need.
Right.
There would be pieces in the
Yeah.
need, and there is a working CIP or master plan for recreation.
Recreation, and that was the recommendation of the impact fee committee, is that that be the third, the recreation be the third thing that gets looked at, so.
And then the other piece would be the fire, because the fire
But
truck.
Bruce is very confident the fire will stay the same, because we're paying off the bond,
Bond.
and we still have enough years to justify
But-
keeping
Yeah,
it.
With
that
the-
one's more.
With the bond though, if the proposed fire truck gets approved, that is in the CIP, and if that gets bonded out, we could potentially collect partially for
Increase
that,
it.
increase it partially. I mean, it would probably be a low increase because of the,
It all depends
Dollar
if that truck replaces the truck we
Right.
got, or if it's added to the fleet.
right, and I've seen it said both ways. I've seen it saying it was gonna be, it was a new.
Same with me,
addition to,
right.
and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then the last thing I saw said a replacement of, so that definitely makes a big difference too.
Yeah, I'm listening. So that was one of the reasons why we said we were gonna wait till after town meeting to have Bruce do this, so we knew what was going to do, or not.
Okay.
And so he knew as well,
Right,
before he started.
yeah.
All right, well, I think we'll wait until afterwards, so keep moving. The next up was the Board of Selectmen staff members update, but I think before then, but I'll just stay with the order of the agenda. I'll start with Board of Selectmen update.
Well, so, everybody knows the elections, we'll have 2 new members starting, right after town meeting.
Congratulations, Charlene.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Charlene. We will be, the petition warrant article to increase the board from 3 to 5 members passed. So that will go into effect starting next year. Hopefully, some of the folks who ran this year will run next year, to fill those seats, so we'll be dealing with that. The other things that we had one meeting this week, there wasn't a whole lot we were dealing with. We've got some plumbing and septic issues that are being dealt with in this building that Chris and Paul are working through. Chris is looking at estimates to replace the flagpole up at the center of town. And that's kind of all we talked about.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we talked about this week.
Because everything, we've been in town meeting,
Exactly.
election and town meeting mode the last 2
Yeah,
weeks. so,
exactly.
yeah.
And then the new website is up.
Yeah, the new
new
website
website,
is up. Yep. Chris and team did a fantastic job, I believe, getting the new website up. They worked really hard to get it up in time for elections because they knew that that was a time when people would actively be going out to the website, so they kind of wanted to showcase it. The only comment I would make is that if you have another site or a Facebook page or anything that links to the town website, you might want to just go check those links. Because I did see that some of them just
Some
got,
of them won't work, right.
yeah, exactly.
And the other thing on that, bear with us, because we're still adding information
Yep.
to the website, so not everything's been, some of the stuff we had in the old one is not gonna be there, because we updated it,
Yep.
so there's a lot of new changes, so we would like people to just go and play with it and see what's there. It's a lot of new information out there.
I love the quick find feature, which,
Yeah.
is really easy to find the stuff that people are interested in.
Currently, we have all my applications online, and as soon as Joanna gets back in the next week or two, after we get out of town meeting, we're gonna put all the planning and zoning applications online, so people can print them out and just speed up the whole process for citizens.
Great.
Yep.
Are other agencies being notified of that address change, like the RPC, municipal, New Hampshire
Yeah,
Municipal
that
Association?
I'm not having, I'm only,
Okay.
I'm only focusing on my section of it.
As far as the individual page links, you mean?
Well, you had mentioned that the
Oh,
address.
I know what
Well,
you're saying, yeah, because like Stratford Regional and EOC.
They probably all have links.
Well, if they link to the homepage, it's still the same,
All right.
right? It's just if you link to one of the sub-pages,
Okay,
right,
good.
yeah.
Like, for an example, the page for the new digital maps we did, that link has actually changed, so that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I noticed on the planning board page, the members section was copied
Yeah,
twice.
double, I noticed that
Kirk
today.
wasn't in the first one, and then,
And the second one had the years of your
Yeah.
term, so, yeah, I made a note for that today, I read that.
I just figured I'd give it a
second
while, because I figured it's
Yeah.
all still in play.
Is there a conspiracy going on?
I was worried.
one. Everybody gets 2 votes.
Okay, other updates, I'll just go around the room. Paul, do you have
Yeah,
anything?
I got a couple things. We have some sad news to share. Some of you remember a longtime planning board member, Peter Gilfey, has passed away. He passed away a few weeks ago, or about almost a month ago now. And I apologize, I just found out Friday. So, his funeral's already come and gone, so. The other thing is we talked before the meeting, you wanna talk about that now, what we talked about replacing people? Or are we gonna bring that up?
I'll get to that with the planning board bylaws.
Okay, yep, so then, that's pretty much it. We have no applications in front of us right now. We expect to see a conceptual application for that one on Flutter Street. And, pretty much it. Oop, sorry.
Gary?
No report.
John? Ed?
The only thing was, the thankful to be a part of this election cycle, and thank you to the Nottingham Women's Club for hosting the candidates night, and for everybody that was able to attend, and both as a candidate and as an audience member. I think it was very well run, and it's great to be a part of all that, so thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who showed up. It was record numbers for a town election, so it was great voter turnout.
What was the total? Do you remember?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask that.
1,400 almost,
Yeah,
I
something
think.
like that, yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was quite high,
Oh.
yeah.
Charlene, do you have anything to? Buzz?
What's that?
Okay. The next item is the planning board bylaws. So do we
Why
have?
why we stuck that under the updates was because what we put in your binders a copy of the current bylaws for you to read over as your homework for our next meeting in 2 weeks, when we'll discuss any changes you recommend, as well as election of officers, and if we have minutes to review from tonight, you
Yeah.
know, but we'll conduct no cases, so.
Yeah. And as a part of that, I just wanted to mention, in part of my comments, or the bylaws, is with Charlene Anderson as a full member, now becoming a select board member, she will have to vacate her position on the board. So we will have an open position. And it's gonna be up to the select board, once that gets fully involved, of who would be continuing on as the ex officio member. But we would have an empty planning board seat, and we would have to either appoint one. Well, that's what we'd have to do, would be appoint one. That appointment goes until the next election year.
Right, or more.
So someone
Year.
would be appointed to the next year. Typically, you know, we turn to the alternates and ask if they would be interested in, we don't need any answers this evening, but ask them if they'd be interested in filling that position. But it is also open for any citizen of Nottingham to be able to get appointed. If anybody is interested, let planning know, let Paul know. And we'd love to have new members on the board. And even if one of the alternates does become a member, then we'd still would like to fill alternate seats regardless.
And and even if Buzz or Teresa aren't interested in the full-time seat, we still have one vacant alternate seat anyways. So we're always looking for alternates, so. And,
Oh, we have three vacant alternates.
we can have 3, yeah, and we have 2 currently.
We
Because,
could have up to 5.
yes, that's right. So we've got plenty of seats open,
Yes.
so.
Okay, so that's that.
So I'm gonna put on the agenda for our next meeting, we'll do bylaw review, we'll do, election of officers, well, that'll come first. This isn't in the order. And then, if there's interest, then we'll put it on the town website, you can appoint to fill Charlene's vacancy, because by that time, she'll be a selectman, even though they may have not decided who's gonna fill that seat. We can't have 2 selectmen sitting on the board, you know. Staff's desire is that the Board of Selectmen appoint Charlene as but as Don and I have talked, it's up to the 3 of them. I mean,
I believe,
I think Donna has provided very good service to the board, so.
Right.
thank you.
Whether it's Charlene or Donna, I think it would be very well suited to either one of them.
yep,
As I was saying to Paul, in the rotation, the next seat would actually be the seat vacated by Mark. That would actually be the next one in the rotation, but,
yeah. And traditionally, and it wasn't a knock on Don, and I apologize if it came across that way, but as the chairman, hopefully she'll be the chairman as the senior member, they traditionally don't sit on boards, because they've got
Right.
enough other
right.
to do to take care of their board, so. And why this, is in the town hall, why we were talking with Charlene, nothing against the other, Mr. Eaton, but she's been on the board for a long time now, and she's familiar with how we operate, and it's
It's
some consistency.
it's not an easy board to
No.
be on in your first cycle as a select
Right.
person. So we met this week, our next meeting should be in 2 weeks. And I would expect at that meeting that we will hash out the board assignments.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so at our business meeting, they can send whoever they want, and it may not be our permanent.
So if we do, at the next meeting, appoint someone to the vacant seat,
Yep.
would they be able to participate in the meeting, or do they have to wait till they can get sworn in by?
Technically, they would sit, if it's Buzz or Teresa that takes a seat, they would just get, like tonight, they would get, like Buzz did, he'd get seated to fill Charlene's seat for the night, and then they'd have to go get sworn in, and then they become a full member. So you're right, Ed.
Okay, well, I'll move on to the next one. Public comment. I'll keep it brief. For those at home that can't see the audience, there is none. So we will quickly move off of that. But this would be a time where public can come in, make any comments or questions about any of the procedures we have or something they may be thinking of, just in general. So we'd be happy to have them come in, whether it's a comment about the master plan or something under the planning board's purview. I guess the next thing would be minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes this evening to go through. So I'd like to at least finish or get approved a couple of these. I don't know if anybody else had comments or have more comments.
I have, oh no, I just have mine.
Excuse me before you try that. Sue, did you get copies of them? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there are, I think all of them are in your packet.
Yeah, you guys did. That way, I want to make sure Sue has a copy, so we can make changes if there's any.
And I would be happy to take a motion for all 3, if there aren't any comments on them.
I sent in some edits to Joanna,
Okay, do you know
but I
if
don't
those
know
got
on
made?
which ones, but I'll
When
pull 'em up.
did you, like I say, I'll check tomorrow. She's gonna be out this week, so,
Well, I sent them out over the weekend, so.
okay, yeah, and she hasn't been in, so.
Yeah, I just had some very minor edits, so I can go through those, and do you have yours? And-
It's powering up, so I had to shut it down. But go ahead.
So let's see, on the December 9th, 2015 minutes, for line 15, I have delete the word approved and add accepted as complete.
What line?
What line?
I'm sorry, line 15 on December 9th.
Yeah, approved.
Recommends it be approved, it's recommended it be accepted as complete. Line 19, at the end of it, add as complete. Line 69, I moved 68, sorry. I don't know if we usually put the case number for what was being signed, just to keep it, so people can go back and see what it was in reference to.
Yeah, this just has signed Garland Road LLA plans.
Yes.
Yep.
So we can add the case number, that'd be great. And then line 80, add line 80 for attached, the home occupation letter. It's referenced in the minutes earlier on, it says it'll be attached, but it's not.
That's the one you did, Charlie, right? That's the one you're talking about, the one Charlie wrote? Sue wrote, who wrote, you?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's the part.
Okay, so, I think I had some edits on this one, and I apologize, because didn't listen to what Ed was just saying, so if I repeat some of what he said, then I apologize for that. I had on, line 43, to strike the word Marston property, and instead it should say recreation impact fee analysis.
That's been made.
Okay, she must have got your email, she must have got your changes then.
Oh,
That's been made.
oh, okay.
That is there, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I didn't even-
Well, that's all right, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
That means she got yours.
Okay.
Amazing.
See, you get elected selectman, your changes happen, just like that.
Really?
You already gave her, yeah, sorry, Johnny, you just got the vote.
Wow.
Have it on line 52 too, let's just double
What
check.
did you have for 52?
Yep, so she made the corrections.
Okay.
Yep.
Back to you, Abe.
So, moving on to January 13th minutes, line 5 is other, or somewhere in there, in the others present, I believe Chet Batchelder was in attendance as well. I can't remember if he spoke or not, but I believe he was with the,
And what we do is they go off, if he didn't sign in, we,
Okay.
that's what we do
Yeah.
with the list, so, yeah.
line 12, at the end of the sentence, add as complete. And then one more, line 89, which moved, so. Sorry, line 90. I think that's confused. I think we need to clarify what plans were signed that night. Because it says sign the revised Garland Road lot line adjustment plan, Sarah Evans, but those are two different plans.
Yeah. I'm looking at, I'm writing case number and then check. Which ones? It might have been two
Well,
that night.
because in December, we already signed the Garland.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm,
It does say revised, so it might have been, we
Right.
didn't sign it until then, but,
Okay.
yeah, if we could just clarify that and then.
They had to, meet some,
right, the Garland Road ones, they had to redo something there, and you're right.
they changed the acreage and something else.
Right.
Stone walls.
But, and if Sarah Evans was signed that night too, we should list both case numbers. That's what I wrote down,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
That's what, yeah.
And then February 10th minutes? Is that okay? Are we moving on? Okay.
Charlene, did you have comments on
So it looks like
January?
so she's got on line 60 and highlighted the 168,827 amount. I had a question if that number seemed high and I didn't know if it was it was a question I had, was that the correct number?
I thought it was 180 something.
Yeah, it's higher than that.
Yeah, it's 180
I
something.
will
Yeah.
check number, is what I'm writing. And we'll get the right number in there.
I wonder if it's 186.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
It's over 150,000, I do know that. But that's an easy thing I can check.
That everything else she
Yeah.
incorporated.
February 10th? Add line 16.
60.
16, I'm sorry.
16.
Add, and a representative from Eversource was not present to the end of the sentence. And I have these too, I have it right here. So it's a little bit easier. Line 36, again, add as complete. Line 40,
Hold on for a minute.
oh yeah, yep, all right.
After line 16, what was the next one?
36
36.
for the motion,
Okay, yeah.
just as complete. Line 40. This might have been changed, sorry, I didn't see it, I didn't get these updated minutes, so I was going off the ones we had. I think the language is off at the end, so it reads currently, Mr. Landry stated the board needs to decide whether 244 Mill Pond is a lot of record due to a survey done on the land that was not actually done and recorded.
I would
Survey
take out-
was done,
I would take out the word done, was not actually recorded.
but it was recorded.
Yeah.
It was, the
Right.
question was the deed.
Yeah,
The survey work.
Not actually a lot of record due to a deed not being recorded after the plan was approved. Would something like that work? Or actually capture what we discussed that night?
What was not actually done?
So the survey, there was a survey done, a case came through the planning board for
Right.
the subdivision of the parcel, back in like '08. And then a deed supposedly never passed hands to make what occurred in the part of the subdivision, which was a lot line adjustment instead of a subdivision, occur, which would have eliminated the smaller parcel, the 0.7 acre parcel, bounds, would have made it into the 13 acre parcel, just one lot. But since the consensus,
Sarah Evans case.
No.
Like, what were you talking about? Did it happen on 2 different ones?
Yeah, no, this was a different one that you weren't here for the suit, yeah.
Other one, similar.
So the consensus was to clear it up, clean it up. You know,
So-
the deed didn't ever get filed, and that's what actually binds the board and binds the applicant, that when we approved the new plan and there, we pass a deed, that would clear it all up and be the binding for the new three lots, and then they go to the assessors and get the tax maps updated and everything.
So the survey got done, but the survey never got recorded.
No, the survey did get recorded. The plan came through the planning board, was approved as a lot line adjustment.
They never recorded the deeds showing the lot line adjustment.
That's the part that didn't happen.
Right. So,
The deed that was
Well,
recorded.
that's what we need to
reflected.
say here.
and that,
The
what
deed was
I've
incorrectly
written, Ed,
recorded.
on the second line, to a survey done on the land and a new deed was not recorded. Is that what you're trying to say? Or am I missing something
The
still?
deed was not recorded for the boundary line adjustment.
For the older boundary line, yeah.
Yeah. Due to it. Yeah. Just cross this off. This line moved. Oh, that changed, so that's gone. Oh, actually, no, line 44, the board members discussed the boundary issue and agreed to due diligence and accept the boundaries. So I'm not certain, I mean, it would be DUE diligence, but I don't know that that reads, as, again, like what we agreed.
Why don't we agreed to accept the boundaries being set as original. They were to due diligence.
I think what's meant to be said there, the board members discussed the boundary issue and agreed to DUE diligence, and accept the bounds as originally set.
Why do you need due diligence in there?
That's what I think Dirk was saying.
Yeah.
So, and agreed, the board members discussed the boundary issue and agreed
To accept?
to accept the boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll take out the words to due diligence and add the word to. Is that okay?
Yes.
I only have a couple more, so sorry. Line 50, I think we can remove the word buildable, because it wasn't the buildable lot, it's to move the
Within the
radii
lot.
within the lot. Line 54, add the words of the deed to the end of the sentence, so it would actually be 55. Oh, wait. Yeah, still 54, I'm sorry, it is. Legal counsel review of the deed.
Yep.
And then, this is the last lengthy one, then I have one small one after that. Line 56, where it states, Mr. Beal suggested amending the motion to include a third-party legal opinion containing the sentence to verify if the deed filed after the prior subdivision eliminated the bounds of the 0.7 acre lot.
No, you got it written down?
He's got it written down. Did you get that, Sue?
It's getting late. Send it to me or hand me your paper.
I will. Yeah. And then line 72, in front of the word April, add the word in. That's it, for me.
Anybody else have comments? I'd entertain a motion based on those amendments or those changes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes of December 9th, 2015, January 13th, 2016, and February 10th, 2016, as amended.
A motion, is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous.
Just to remind everybody, town meeting is at 9 o'clock Saturday morning at the Nottingham School.
And now that we have the new website, I can bring up another board-related item. To make things as transparent as possible and to make things as readily available to the public as possible, I was wondering how feasible it would be to put everything that's gonna be on an agenda for the night available on the website, so people could see the documents that we're gonna be looking at, the plans, it's come to my attention that if you notice our emails, we're CCing other members of the public on all planning board related items, which is fine. It's public information and would be readily acceptable through a Public Information Act. And there's no business really occurring at all by email that isn't allowed. But just to make it, instead of, I don't know if that opens the board up to any kind of liability where if we miss CCing that person on a night, if it would allow them to appeal our decision because we didn't notice them and we've created a precedent. By putting all the information online, it would allow any of us to just go on and look at the items that are there and allow anybody else that's a member of the public to look at it without having to try to come in and view the documents ahead of time.
I will inquire. I know there's some space limitations, and I know staff is, I know Joanna's scheduled on the 15th, is scheduled to learn how to add and take stuff down and off our pages on the website, so.
Yeah, we'll look at the procedure on how to do that, and
Yeah,
we'll bring that up in
Yeah,
the
I
board
mean,
discussion.
it could be a matter of you just put up what the next what the next week is gonna be, and then when, you
Yep.
just take that off when the next one comes
Right,
up,
yeah.
because the minutes are gonna end up in the minutes section.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't take up too much
you
space.
should be able to do it, yeah.
But I agree with Ed that it can become, if we start to build this list of residents who want these emails, then it just becomes a nightmare, or we're opening ourselves up for, complaints.
Case in
yeah.
point, Mr. Reed has put in writing under 91A, so we have to honor that and send him everything. So Joanna was at first sending it under a separate cover, but she's just easy to do it all at once, so.
Yeah, and there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Right,
But
yeah.
I just didn't want to have it ever come in to, where something happens and we miss it.
I mean, what you could then just do is just send us the link to where the stuff is located on the website, and then anybody can go in there
Yeah.
and
And the
access it.
91A request isn't perpetual, is it? It's got to be for every occurrence. I mean,
Here's the way he's written, and we
we're
had
making
checked.
it easy, but,
It is open-ended, here's the way he had it written,
and that's,
I don't think you can do that.
yeah, I don't
for
think-
the year 2016.
We may state that, but I don't know that that's,
We had it checked.
Well, if it's up on the website, then he has access to it.
Right,
Yeah.
right, that'll take care of it.
Right.
last piece of business, I may or may not be at the next meeting. I have a baby due on the 21st, so. Any day now.
That's no excuse.
Yeah, no, so I'm gonna do my best to be here.
Teepers,
We may have it here, so.
you could Skype in.
any other business for tonight?
I have nothing, sir. Oh, just, if you notice, you've got new cover sheets for your,
That just added a date.
yeah, Joanna had a date.
We also have plans to sign.
Oh,
Yes.
and Paul, we
Yep.
haven't got, I saw the updated email about the OEP that they've postponed.
We have
Right.
not heard,
Definitely.
that may not even happen this year. They're having some difficulties, OEP is. And that's not the only thing they've canceled. They've canceled some other stuff
The big one.
for other, yeah. So I don't know what's going on with OEP.
Okay. Nothing new on that, though.
Yeah, no, we have heard nothing. As soon as we do, yeah, we'll get that out, so.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.